Well, good evening. Thank you, Camila, for these very kind words. And thank you, Lincoln Center in Cinecittà, for organizing this beautiful and very moving event. As I was walking up, I was reminded, Camila said that, I would be the best person to describe my mother. Actually, I think that the best person to describe my mother was Roberto Benigni. When he was asked to define Sophia Loren, and he said, Sophia Loren is not just Italian. Sophia Loren is Italy. When she walks, please. When she walks, her legs are like the Tower of Pisa. When she smiles, her smile casts sunlight all over the Italian countryside. When she cries, her tears turn into the Tower of Pisa, and her face is as timeless and monumental as the Colosseum. But what's interesting about my mother is that she is, in fact, much more than an icon. The reason why we have such a connection with her is because of her great humanity, of her great fragility, and of the way that she expresses her emotions on screen. And that is what creates such a special bond between her and the audience. In fact, when I walk around in Italy and I happen to be recognized, I'm not recognized as either a celebrity or the son of a celebrity. I'm recognized as a person that is part of that stranger's family. We are all part of the Italian family. And this is something that to me is extremely, extremely special. And it truly is very special for all of us. And it's really one of the reasons why we ended up doing The Life Ahead. There were two books that stood on my nightstand. One is Jean Cocteau's Human Voice, which we did with my mother a few years ago, and then The Life Ahead. And what really attracted us to The Life Ahead was the question that it asks. It asks, what does it mean to be part of a family? What makes a family? Is it simply the raw genetic code that connects us, or is it more? Is it that we share either a common social circumstance, or a common love for something, or common purpose, or aspiration? It could be both. It could be neither. But as far as I'm concerned, when I feel the love that you guys have in this audience for my mother, I truly feel that it's more the latter, because I feel that we're all bound here for the affection we have for this amazing woman, and that makes you all family in my book. So enjoy tonight. It's the first time I see it with an audience, believe it or not. Yeah, because of COVID.
Well, yeah, thank you, Edoardo, for being here, for that wonderful introduction, and yeah, for your beautiful film. It's so clearly a film made with love and an open heart.
Is it? Come on.
I think so. Yeah. I think that is just like written across the film in so many different ways, but like not least in the performances. So I guess just to start off, you had mentioned having this book by Romain Gary on your nightstand for some time. So I want to ask you just what most intrigued you, what stayed with you about this character of Madame Rosa, and how did that lead you over the years to eventually cast Sophia in this role?
It was, I'm always attracted to relationships in movies, and this relationship between Momo and Madame Rosa really, really just stayed with me. It was partly that, and it was really also the narrative voice of Romain Gary, who really is just a genius. He's the only French author to have won the Prix Goncourt twice, because when he wrote La vie devant soi, he wrote it under a pseudonym, Émile Ajar. And when and that year, Émile Ajar won the Prix Goncourt, but nobody knew that Émile Ajar was in fact the famous author Romain Gary. And only when he passed away did people realize that this man who had written one book was in fact Romain Gary. And what I loved about the book was this combination of irreverence and poetry, because the book was written through the point of view of the boy. And that's something that really spoke to me. So those two factors were really factors that stayed with me for a long time until I had the opportunity to make the movie.
So when did it occur that you would cast Sophia?
It always occurred to me. When you have such an exceptional actress as a mother, why wouldn't I use her? And it's so easy to guilt her into a role. Come on, Mama. Come on. Come on. I know you're tired, but come on.
Do you remember pitching the film
What?
to her? Do you remember pitching the film to her?
You know, we're so similar that we have such a creative simpatico that what I'm inspired by, she's inspired by, and vice versa. So, same occurred with Human Voice, which was always something that she wanted to do. You know, she had seen the Anna Magnani version directed by Roberto Rossellini, and it was always an aspiration of hers to do that. And then it was also an aspiration of hers to do this movie, and we were very much in sync creatively on those two projects.
So this is your third collaboration with her. Does it get any easier giving your mother direction?
To me, it's no problem. For her, it's hard. And it's not hard because she just wants to do her thing. It's hard because I know when she hits the truth. And the problem when you are gifted with such an exceptional gift is that your average as an actress is already good enough. And so most directors stop at her 6. But if I'm going to work with her, we have to get to 10. And so she has to work a little bit harder to get to 10. And so after the third take, she starts getting a little bit offended. But then I tell her, Mama, who's going to win? You today because you have to go past take 3, or the movie? The movie will always win, so let's do this. And after the second day of shooting, she remembers that I'm a pain in the ass, and she accepts it.
So how did you approach working with Sophia alongside, say the newcomers in the film, like Ibrahim Gueye? I mean, he's incredible. I think their chemistry together is authentic, and I think they bring out the best in each other.
Yeah.
So what was that process like, forming this connection between the two?
The big process, can you just imagine? This boy had never acted in his life. 3 weeks before the audition, he never thought even that he wanted to act. Then we end up casting him. And imagine when he comes back, when he goes back home at La Dispoli, which is a suburb of Rome, imagine when he tells people, I've just been cast in a movie opposite Sophia Loren. I mean, just imagine. So imagine the amount of work that I have to do to deconstruct that so that he can be on the same level playing field. So what we did was to really demystify Sophia Loren. And what I did was we all lived in the same apartment during the whole shoot and pre-production, so that he could get a sense of Sophia the way that I knew her. In the morning, when she comes down from the bedroom to have her English muffin, or at night when she watches CNN and maybe kind of falls asleep in front of the TV, and he was right there. So he tasted and he lived that woman. And so he could ultimately play opposite her and be at the same level, in a sense. And also, a lot of that also came from my mother's generosity. to involve him, to speak to him, to create as little daylight, actually no daylight at all in between them. And also I think that it came from Ibra's, the actor who plays Momo, Ibra's intelligence. The hardest thing for him, was to be very rude to her at the beginning of the movie. Those scenes in rehearsal always fell flat until one day he had the instinct of walking up to my mother and tell her how these scenes were hard for him to do, because when he got home he felt bad, and he asked her permission to be mean to her, and she of course was like, absolutely. And then from that day on he was such an asshole, and I was so happy.
Can you recall their first encounter with each other, what that was like?
The first encounter was actually tough. It was one of the very, very first rehearsals, and he was really a deer caught in headlights. And my mother was already in the role. So she was already, in that rehearsal, she tried to keep her distances. And I was like, oh my God, he's not giving me anything. And so it was a very, very difficult first rehearsal for that. But before that, as far as her meeting the human being, her meeting Ibra, he came with his father, and they had just a lovely conversation. I was never concerned with them not having chemistry. Like, I really could have just put them together on set that first day. Of course, we didn't, for all the obvious reasons of him being a first-time actor. So I had to give him certain tools to be able to, for him to be himself and to kind of just be real in front of the camera, of course. But I was never concerned, because I know my mother so well, and I really felt him. And I knew that they would absolutely build the right chemistry in the movie. Yeah.
I'll just ask a few more questions so we can open it up to the audience. But I mean, you're here throughout this weekend introducing films.
Yeah.
But I just want to ask, just broadly speaking, what have Sophia's performances across her body of work taught you as a filmmaker?
Every time that my mother approaches a film, it's like her first one. And it shows the reverence that she has for this job. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional. And the humility that she has for it. And reverence and humility are two aspects of our profession that I think help us reach whatever level that we end up reaching, but at least make us honest enough to express emotions authentically. And that's what the audience needs, and that's what the audience expects. Authenticity, real moments.
Do you remember the first film of hers that you saw?
With my mother?
Yeah.
I don't really, because it was always, I think the first film I heard was of my mother. I was in her womb. So, and I don't know. And actually, I do know what movie that was, because you're showing it on Sunday. Il Viaggio, when my mother did Il Viaggio in 1972, I was born in January 1973, she was pregnant with me. So I don't think I saw the first movie, I heard it.
Okay, fair enough. We can open it up to audience questions, because you have to introduce another film. And
yes,
and
I don't know what I'm going to say.
Not very long, but if you have a question, raise your hand, and a mic will come to you.
I want to commend you on showing the beauty in aging. Because age is timeless. And seeing the film and watching your mother on the screen, it's from the first film that I've ever seen of hers till this film that you worked on and directed with her in it. The beauty is just beyond.
Well,
I want to commend you, and I applaud you.
Thank you. The speaking to that very, very briefly, we had a very specific arc to her makeup. The more the dementia takes hold, the less makeup she has. So that at the beginning of the movie, we are presenting a Sophia Loren that people know and are familiar with, and then slowly we remove that makeup to the point where the last 10 to 12 minutes of the movie, truly, she has zero makeup on. Zero. Not even makeup to make it look like no makeup. Zero makeup on. And this is really a testament to who she is and to her commitment to the role, because she could have told me, no, Edoardo, never, I'm going to put my fake eyelashes. And then I would have pushed, and then ultimately, but never. She was very, very, very open to this. And that's a testament to who she is as an artist, really, as an artist.
Hi, my question is, do you have a favorite performance of your mother's?
I think the favorite film of my mother's that for me is A Special Day. Yeah. Directed by Ettore Scola with, of course, Marcello Mastroianni. She's absolutely exceptional in that film, and I think that if there is perfection in a movie, that movie really gets very close to that.
And I'll point out that film is screening tomorrow at 8
Yeah,
p.m.
that's right.
And Eduardo's going to introduce it.
And I'm introducing it. And I'll say exactly that. So here we go. That's it. That's what I'm saying.
Hi. I just want to say I'm honored to be here and to see your work. And my mom was born in 1933, and she was from Italy. And so I grew up knowing a lot about Sophia Loren. So thank you.
No, thank you. Well, first of all, let me introduce this woman who is speaking, because Regina Scully is one of the amazing producers of this movie. Without her, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you, Regina. Yeah. Thank you, Regina.
It's, I've seen it a number of times, and every time I watch it, I see something new, something different, something brilliant in the direction and the acting. It moves me so much. So thank you for that. I think you've directed a masterpiece. And really, yeah, he deserves it. And I'd like to know, working with your mom at this stage of her career, what was, you probably had many moments, but what was one of the most special things you got out of the whole experience? And did you learn something new about your mother during the filming of this?
No, what's always really beautiful is when you discover the artist behind the person. She's my mother, so she's a mother. So the relationship is a very, very, very kind of complete relationship, but there's full of ups and downs, etc. But then what's beautiful is when we walk on set and she ends up just doing that one thing that is unexpected, that is so exactly her, but so exactly unique that she's never done before, and yet it's the compilation of everything that she's done. And she's an artist, and to see that is exceptional, and it's so rare that a son can experience a woman whom he calls his mother that way,
Thank you, Eduardo.
Thank you.
Another round of applause for Eduardo. Thank you so much for your film.
Thank you. Thank you.